Hey everyone, welcome back to Fluent English Pod, where we help you train your mind to think in English and speak fluently. I'm Dave with our co-host Emma.
Hey, we're so glad you're here. Whether you're listening on your way to work, while making dinner, or just winding down for the day, thanks for spending this time with us.
This episode is designed for absolute beginners, or those looking for a quick refresher, your one-stop guide to mastering the essentials. We'll explore key topics like greetings and introductions, the power of polite words like please, thank you, and sorry, the basic structure of English sentences, handy phrases for everyday situations, and how to confidently talk about numbers, dates, and time. The episode is perfect for anyone who wants to build a strong foundation in English quickly and in a fun, engaging way. Don't forget to share the new words and phrases you pick up in the comments. We can't wait to hear from you.
I will be your pronunciation and conversation coach. Today, we're tackling a big topic. English for beginners. Master the basics in 1 hour. Don't worry, we'll make it quick, easy, and fun. All right, let's start with the absolute basics. Greetings and introductions. This is where every conversation begins, whether you're meeting someone for the first time or just saying hello to a friend. In English, we have a ton of ways to greet people, and the one you choose depends on the situation and how formal or casual you want to be.
Exactly. For an example, assume you're in a formal setting, like a business meeting or talking to someone older. You might say, "Hello, how are you?" Or "Good morning," "Good afternoon," or "Good evening." It's polite and professional.
But if you're with friends or in a casual setting, you can go with hi, hey, or even what's up, which is super relaxed. And Dave, don't forget your favorite, howdy.
Howdy, partner? Haha. Yeah, howdy is a fun one, especially if you want to sound like you're from the Wild West. But seriously, greetings are more than just words. They set the tone for the whole conversation. After you say hello, it's common to ask, "How are you?" or "How's it going?"
Right. And here's a pro tip. When someone asks you, how are you? In English, they're often just being polite. You don't need to give a detailed answer. A simple, I'm fine, thank you, or I'm good works perfectly. But if you're feeling creative, you can say things like, I'm great, thanks, or not bad.
And if you're having a rough day, you can say, "I'm hanging in there," or "It's been a long day, but I'm okay." Just keep it light unless you're talking to a close friend. Oh, and if you're feeling really excited, you can say, "I'm on top of the world," or "I'm over the moon."
Love those. Now, let's talk about introductions. After the greeting, you might want to introduce yourself. You can say, my name is Emma, or I'm Dave. And if you want to be extra friendly, you can add, nice to meet you, or it's a pleasure to meet you.
And if you're introducing someone else, you can say, "This is my friend Emma," or "I'd like you to meet Dave." It's a great way to make connections and show you're polite.
Absolutely. Now, listeners, here's a challenge for you. Think about all the greetings and introductions we've covered. Can you write a short conversation in the comments? For an example, hello, how are you? I'm great, thanks. My name is Anna. What's your name? Nice to meet you, Anna. I'm John. We'd love to see what you come up with.
Greetings are your first step to sounding like a pro, so practice them as much as you can.
Next up, we'll talk about the magic words that can make you sound super polite. But first, let's hear from you. What's your favorite way to say hello? Share it with us.
All right, let's talk about the magic words. Please, thank you, and sorry. Why are they called magic words? Well, because they have the power to make people smile, open doors, and even fix mistakes. They're like little verbal spells that make you sound polite, kind, and respectful. And who doesn't want to sound like that?
Exactly. Let's start with please. This is the word you use when you want something. It's like adding a sprinkle of politeness to your request. For example, instead of saying, give me a coffee, which sounds a bit demanding, you say, can I have a coffee, please? Or, could you pass me the sugar, please? It's a small word, but it makes a huge difference.
And here's a fun tip. You can make please even more polite by adding a little phrase like, would you mind? For example, would you mind helping me with this, please? It's like turning up the politeness dial to 100.
Love that. Now, let's move on to Thank you. This is the word you use when someone does something nice for you. It's like giving them a little verbal high five. For example, if someone hands you that coffee you asked for, you say, thank you, or thanks a lot.
And if you're feeling extra grateful, you can say, thank you so much, or I really appreciate it. Oh, and in some places, like the UK or Australia, people say cheers instead of thank you. So if you're ever in London and someone says, cheers, mate, they're not just toasting with a drink, they're saying thanks.
That's right. And don't forget, thank you isn't just for big things. You can say it for small acts of kindness too, like when someone holds the door for you or gives you directions. It's all about showing appreciation.
Now let's talk about sorry. This is the word that can save you from awkward situations. Did you accidentally bump into someone on the street? Say, sorry. Did you forget to call your friend back? Say, I'm so sorry. It's like a verbal bandage. It helps heal little social oopsies.
And here's a pro tip. In English, we sometimes say sorry, even when it's not really our fault. For an example, if someone steps on your foot, you might still say, oh, sorry. It's just a way to keep things friendly and smooth.
Exactly. It's like saying, no hard feelings. Oh, and if you want to sound extra sincere, you can say, I'm really sorry about that, or my apologies. It shows you mean it.
Now let's make this fun. Imagine this scenario. You're at a cafe, and you accidentally knock over someone's drink. What do you say? Oh no, I'm so sorry. Let me buy you a new one, please. And when they say it's okay, you say, thank you so much. See how the magic words work together?
Perfect example. Now, listeners, here's a challenge for you. Think of a situation where you'd use all three magic words, please. Thank you and sorry. Write it in the comments. For example, could you help me with this, please? Thank you so much. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't explain it clearly earlier. We can't wait to see your creative examples.
And don't forget to comment down your favorite magic word. Is it please, thank you, or sorry? Or maybe you've got another magic word you love to use? Share it with us.
That's it for the magic words. Next up, we'll dive into basic sentence structure. But first, let's hear from you. How do you use these words in your daily life?
All right, let's dive into one of the most important parts of English. Sentence structure. If you want to build a sentence, you need to know the basic formula. Subject plus verb plus object. Think of it like a recipe. If you mix these three ingredients in the right order, you'll have a perfect sentence every time.
Exactly. Let's break it down. The subject is the person or thing doing the action. For example, in the sentence, I eat apples, I is the subject because I am the one doing the eating. Simple, right? But here's the thing. This structure works for almost every basic sentence in English. For an example, she reads books. She is the subject, reads is the verb, books is the object. They play soccer. They is the subject, play is the verb, soccer is the object. We love pizza. We is the subject, love is the verb, pizza is the object. See the pattern?
Absolutely. But let's make it even clearer. The subject can be a person, like I, you, he, she, or they, or it can be a thing, like the cat, the car, or the computer. The verb is the action, what the subject is doing, and the object is what the action is happening to.
And here's a fun tip. You can add more details to your sentences to make them more interesting. For example, I eat apples can become I eat juicy green apples every morning. She reads books can become she reads exciting mystery books before bed. They play soccer can become they play soccer with their friends on weekends.
Yes, adding adjectives like juicy or exciting and adverbs like every morning or before bed makes your sentences richer and more descriptive. But even without those extra details, the basic structure, subject plus verb plus object, is the foundation of every sentence.
Now let's address something important. Don't stress if you mix up the order at first. Even native speakers make mistakes sometimes. Like me, who once said, apples eat I.
Haha. Oh, Dave, that was a classic. But seriously, mistakes are part of learning. The key is to practice. Try making your own sentences using the subject plus verb plus object structure. For example, I drink water. He watches movies. We study English.
And here's a challenge for you listeners. Write 3 sentences in the comments using the subject plus verb and an object structure. For example, 1. I listen to music. 2. She writes emails. 3. They cook dinner. We'd love to see what you come up with.
And don't forget to comment down any new words or phrases you've learned. Sentence structure might seem tricky at first, but once you get the hang of it, you'll be building sentences like a pro.
That's right! Next up, we'll talk about common phrases for everyday situations. But first, let's hear from you. What's your favorite sentence structure to practice? Share it with us.
Now, let's talk about something super practical. Common phrases you'll use in everyday life. These are the sentences that will save you in real-world situations, whether you're traveling, shopping, or just trying to get through the day. Think of them as your English survival kit.
Exactly, Emma. And the best part? You don't need to know a ton of grammar or vocabulary to use them. These phrases are short, simple, and super effective. Let's start with one of the most important ones. Where is the bathroom? Trust me, this is a lifesaver. Whether you're in a restaurant, a mall, or a friend's house, this phrase will come in handy.
Absolutely. And here's a pro tip. If you're in a public place, you can also ask, where are the restrooms? Or, where is the washroom? Depending on where you are. In the UK, for example, people often say toilet instead of bathroom. So, where is the toilet works too.
Good point. Now, let's talk about shopping. If you're at a store and you want to know the price of something, you can ask, how much does this cost? Or simply, how much is this? And if you're feeling fancy, you can say, could you tell me the price of this, please?
Yes, and if you're trying to decide between 2 items, you can ask, which one is cheaper? Or, which one do you recommend? Store employees are usually happy to help, especially if you're polite.
Speaking of being polite, let's not forget the phrase, can you help me? This one is a game changer. If you're lost, confused, or just need assistance, this phrase will get you out of trouble. For example, can you help me find the train station? Or can you help me with this form?
And here's another important one. I don't understand. It's okay to admit when you're confused. In fact, it's better to ask for clarification than to pretend you understand and end up lost. You can say, I don't understand. Can you repeat that, please? Or I don't understand. Can you explain it again?
Exactly. And if someone is speaking too fast, you can say, can you speak more slowly, please? Or, could you slow down a bit? People are usually happy to adjust if they know you're learning.
Now, let's talk about food. If you're at a restaurant and you're not sure what to order, you can ask, what do you recommend? Or, what's the specialty here? And if you have dietary restrictions, you can say, does this have nuts? Or, is this vegetarian?
Great examples. And if you're at a cafe and want to order, you can say, I'd like a coffee, please. Or, can I get a sandwich, please? And don't forget to say thank you when they hand it to you.
Oh, and here's a fun one. If you're meeting someone new and want to break the ice, you can ask, what do you do? Or, where are you from? These are great conversation starters and help you get to know people.
And if you're running late, you can say, I'm running a bit late. Sorry. Or, I'll be there in 10 minutes. It's always better to communicate than to leave someone waiting.
Now, listeners, here's a challenge for you. Think of a situation you might encounter, like ordering food, asking for directions, or shopping, and write a short conversation in the comments using these phrases. For example, excuse me, where is the bathroom? It's down the hall on the left. Thank you so much. We'd love to see your creativity.
And don't forget to comment down your go-to phrase in English. Is it, can you help me? Or, how much does this cost? Or maybe you've got another favorite. Share it with us.
That's it for common phrases. Next up, we'll talk about numbers, dates, and time. But first, let's hear from you. What's the most useful phrase you've learned today? All right, let's tackle something that's absolutely essential for everyday life. Numbers, dates, and time. Whether you're making plans, shopping, or just trying to catch a bus, these are the basics you'll use all the time. Let's start with numbers, because honestly, you can't get far without them.
Absolutely. Numbers are everywhere. Counting, prices, phone numbers, addresses, you name it. Let's start simple. 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10. But don't stop there. Once you've got those down, you can move on to bigger numbers like 20, 50, or even 100. And if you're feeling ambitious, why not go all the way to 1,000,000? Okay, maybe start with 100 first.
Yes, let's not get carried away. But seriously, numbers are crucial for so many situations. For example, if you're shopping and you want to ask the price, you can say, "How much is this?" Or, "How much does this cost?" And if the cashier says, "It's $15, you'll need to understand that number.
Exactly. And if you're giving someone your phone number, you'll need to say it clearly. For an example, my number is 555-6489. Here is a pro tip. In English, we usually say each digit individually. So, 555-1234.
Great point. Now, let's talk about dates. Knowing how to say the date is super important for making plans, booking appointments, or even just writing in your diary. For example, today is October 5th. Or if you're talking about a future event, you can say, "The meeting is on November 12th.
And don't forget the days of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way to Sunday. These are essential for planning your week. For example, let's meet on Friday, or I have a doctor's appointment on Thursday.
Yes, and if you're talking about months, it's the same idea. January, February, March, all the way to December. For example, my birthday is in August, or we're going on vacation in June.
Now let's move on to time. This is a big one. If you want to ask for the time, you can say, "What time is it?" Or, "Do you have the time?" And if someone tells you it's 3:15, you'll need to understand that. In English, we often say quarter past for 15 minutes and half past for 30 minutes. So 3:15 is quarter past 3, and 3:30 is half past 3.
And if it's 3:45, you can say quarter to 4. It's a little tricky at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's super useful. Oh, and don't forget about AM and PM. AM is for the morning, and PM is for the afternoon and evening. So 7 a.m. is 7 in the morning, and 7 p.m. is 7 at night.
Great examples. Now let's put it all together. Imagine you're making plans with a friend. You could say, "Let's meet at 2:30 p.m. on Friday, October 13th. Or if you're booking a table at a restaurant, you might say, "I'd like to reserve a table for 4 at 7 p.m. on Saturday, November 4th.
Perfect. Now, listeners, here's a challenge for you. Write a sentence in the comments using numbers, dates, or time. For example, my birthday is on December 25th. The train leaves at 8:45 a.m. I have a meeting on Monday, October 9th. We'd love to see what you come up with.
And don't forget to comment down any new words or phrases you've learned. Numbers, dates, and time might seem tricky at first, but with a little practice, you'll be a pro in no time.
Now, it's time for our favorite part of the show, fun with words. This is where we get to play with English and see how creative you can be. Here's how it works. We'll give you a word, and you have to come up with a sentence using that word. Ready?
Our first word is apple. I'll go first. I ate an apple for breakfast. Your turn, listeners. Comment your sentences below.
Great start, Dave. Next word, happy. I'll say, "I'm so happy to be here with you all." Now it's your turn. What's your sentence?
Awesome. And our final word is learn. I'll go. I love to learn new things every day. Your turn, listeners. Let's see your creativity in the comments.
And don't forget to comment down any new words or phrases you've learned today. We can't wait to see your sentences.
That's it for today's episode. Thanks for joining us, and remember, practice makes perfect. Keep using these phrases and you'll be speaking English like a pro in no time.
And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, let us know in the comments. Until next time, keep practicing and having fun with English.